You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Welcome back to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today, and just like any other time, we have another show lined up for y'all today. And recording right before Christmas, we have another guest. I mean, we're just kind of filled up. We're booked all the way through March, if you believe that or not, of 2026. So I had to hurry up and get this guest on the show because I know her calendar is always full. We have Dr. Sherry McAllister, and today's topic, we're going to be talking all about fashion, posture, and whole being health. And when you think about fashion, that is something that's been part of our guests' whole world for a long time. She's an expert of Fashion Week. And I'm telling you, when you think about how your posture can be affected, you're going to learn a little bit about what she's going to bring to the table today. Because when you think about storytelling, when you think about branding, when you think about business, she is someone that you really want to enjoy the conversation today. So first and foremost, I want to thank our guest today, Dr. Sherry McAllister, taking some time right before the holidays, be on the show. First and foremost, how are you doing today?
Fantastic, and thanks so much for having me.
Yes, ma'am. You have over 25 years of clinical experience, and you have fresh insights that you're going to be able to share with our audience. So I'll just kind of start off with my first question here, and that is, when you think about Fashion Week and the runway and how we watch it, all that good stuff, what stands out to you as a doctor when you think about how most people probably don't notice what goes on in Fashion Week?
This is really one of those moments to reflect on how is your actual presence showing up in everyday life. And if you're a fashion model, you really need to be looking in the mirror and asking yourself, is this the posture and the presence that I want? And that's what I really love working with the fashion models, is because they recognize something very important, which is how I show up in my posture is how I'm going to show those clothes and how I'm going to be good at my job.
And that's a great point, because a lot of times people understand what they understand, but if you don't know something, we don't know what we don't know. Let's talk about fashion a little bit, because what was your experience in the time, and what are some of the things that you were able to take away from that as far as what you're doing now?
Well, as I walked through New York Fashion Week all week long, there was a lot of things that really shocked me. And that was, we're paying a price for our fashion if we don't understand. And you said it best, is, if you don't know better, it's hard to do better. And that's really the purpose of why I'm doing what I'm doing today. Is I want people to recognize that the choices that they're making in their lifestyle impact everything. And it seems really small and rather benign, like, I'm wearing 4-inch heels. How's that impacting my life? Or other things that they do during the day, such as carrying that purse. And each piece of it really has the ability to either create a better opportunity for your life and longevity, or actually to steal it. And we don't really need pain to prove power. And I think that's really one of the alignment issues that I deal with when I talk to models, is your alignment really is your confidence. And if we take that away from you, how are you going to look on the runway?
And you mentioned about the heels. Let's dive into that a little bit deeper. When you think about how heels can shift the head forward, I'm just cheating off my notes here, but it can shift your head forward by a few inches, and that can put some pressure increase on your spinal load. Why does that happen, for those who may not know me? And what's some of the things that you've been able to recognize throughout the years?
It's actually pretty shocking when you think about how our head weighs on our spine. So our head is about the same weight as a bowling ball. And so when you start thinking about wearing heels, it actually pitches you forward. So the more forward you go, the more the body pays the price. So it's not that necessarily heels are evil. It's that gravity keeps receipts and your spine always pays. So that's kind of the key is, and a lot of women are like, oh, I love my heels. Please don't do that to me. And then what I would say is, you know what? I'm not going to take your heels away, but I am going to showcase something very important for your adjusted reality moment. It's that we have to have variety, but we also have to have awareness. So you need to really think about your heels with intention.
And for the women who are watching us right now and are listening to us online and radio, what kind of sacrifice do they have to make with fashion? Because are there alternatives, and what kind of shoes they should probably look as alternative? What is your advice on that?
So keep your heels because we know how much you paid for them. Okay, step one. I'm with you, with all of you out there. I get it. But really what we want to think about is the lower heel heights during the day. We want a really kind of variety of shoes, perhaps chunkier heels because they give you a little more stability. Now, obviously, the stilettos are beautiful, but platforms can also help you distribute the load, and shoes that actually let your toes move around because once your toes can do their job, they'll balance you during the day. Now, if you're in heels all day, well, let's just say your balance is out, and so will your mobility be at the end of the day. So your posture needs a reset, and that's about alignment. So style should elevate you, and I think for many of us, it actually taxes us and our nervous system. So you don't want to have pain to actually prove that you're in beautiful fashionista. What you really want is that you recognize your posture, regardless of your fashion, should be about performance. So if whether on stage or in a boardroom, when you walk in, you should feel aligned. And if you can feel that your shoes are not quite doing it for you, you need to reflect on that and just maybe switch it up. Maybe bring runners to work, put them on, and wear your beautiful heels around the office, and then take them off.
Once again, listen to our Refocused Radio and watching us online, talking to our guest today, Dr. Sherry McAllister. You also are the author of a book that we can talk about a little bit later in the show, but the author of the book, you are the one that wrote Adjusted Reality. And so people can get a copy of that right now. It's available on Amazon, but we can talk about that a little bit later. Before we do that, let's think about accessories, right? Bags are always a big part of fashion. I know a little bit about fashion because I buy my shirt and tie, but the ladies, the women over here, they have the nice bags and purses. What are some of the things they should keep in mind? How some of the accessories could still create some kind of stress on the spine? Is that possible?
Oh, you're in it with me. And I love that you are fashionable. And men need to recognize fashion as well because a lot of them, they still carry the heavy backpacks and the heavy cross-shoulder bags. So we're going to bring both of them together, men and women. Yes, we have beautiful bags, ladies. I want you to recognize if your purse weighs more than your laptop, we have a situation. Okay. Now that it's really because when you have uneven loads, it really changes the balance when you're walking, and with unequal balance, it starts to create an energy issue with your nervous system. And what do I mean by that? It means that it's starting to pull on certain muscles and allows the other muscles to rest. So you're really out of balance. And that's what the nervous system is talking about. So a lot of people have to recognize that those crossbody bags are great, but we have a few things that we need to think about when we're walking to work and we're walking from work. So number one, you want to rotate. So 3 words I want you to remember is rotate, lighten, and align. Switch sides. This goes for the men too. If you're carrying a backpack, it has to go on both shoulders. If it's a crossbody bag, switch. Switch sides. Maybe going to work, it's on your left shoulder. Maybe coming from work, it's on your right shoulder. Choose bags that actually have a wider strap because you're more prone to be comfortable with them. And then the obvious for the men too, and the women especially, downsize what you carry. Half of it's emotional support anyway. For many women that are listening, you could smile and open your purse and look in and go, I don't really need to take that. It's really about wearing the bag with purpose and ensuring that it's not really pulling you down because when it's centered, you're golden. So you shouldn't use your fashion accessories to create lopsidedness, because I'll tell you what, your spine is listening. And that balance, quite honestly, is pulling away from your energy. So we really want to balance your body like you balance your schedule.
And when you talk about energy, breathing is something that we are hearing a lot on podcast shows and just throughout media. A lot of people are practicing breathing exercises. But when it comes to fashion, I mean, is it true? Is it really true? Can certain types of clothing and how they fit us affect our breathing and movement? And how does that actually change our body if that's the case?
Well, it is true. And here's why. If it's really constricting, and many of us out there understand that we're trying to keep it all together and keep it smooth and keep it beautiful, here's the problem. That tight garment can actually really create restrictions for yourself. And when you restrict your breathing, you're restricting, once again, the most powerful operating system you own, which is your nervous system. You actually stand differently. You can even speak differently depending on how tight the clothing is. And it's obvious when you're uncomfortable in your clothing, you show up differently. So we're really looking at what we're talking about: well-tailored clothing, including the undergarments that women often will utilize as part of that fashion accessory. We're putting on the tight garments, but be realistic with it, because you need to let your rib cage expand. And those signals, when it expands, are signals for safety to your brain. When it's really tight, it changes things. So confidence should look effortless, and it shouldn't be restricting your breathing. And I'm not anti-fashion, because a lot of people say, wait a minute, I want to look good. What I really am is really pro freedom of movement, because the body needs to breathe, move, and be able to express. So you should be able to collaborate with your style. And if your clothes block your breathing, they're actually blocking your power and how your presence shows up.
And speaking of presence, you having rich history and experience in Fashion Week and being in New York. New York is super busy, it's super packed. It's a lot of business professional, a lot of fashion throughout the streets with people walking. What have you noticed with just people in New York, the atmosphere, how they are presenting themselves? Because I can only imagine that there is probably a nice case study, if you will, of a good variety of different people in different walking styles, if you will.
That is absolutely correct. You know what? I absolutely love New Yorkers, and I was the man on the street. So I was stopping them and asking them questions about their posture. What I love about New Yorkers, they're really honest. And that's a real key to getting the answers that help us formulate how do we help other people. What I actually heard over and over again was, I look good, but I'm actually feeling exhausted, or I feel confident until my body starts hurting. And when you hear those things, you want to immediately say, how do we help? What are we looking at? So people want to choose between looking good and feeling good. They actually want both. Everybody listening today will probably say, I want to look good, I want to feel good. But here's the thing. Posture actually was, on the streets of New York, a huge theme. When people actually stood taller, and I actually did exercises with them, they felt not only more confident instantly, but they said they felt better emotionally. So alignment changes the conversation when you're having it with yourself before you even ever say a word. Just look in the mirror and you can tell. On a good day and you're standing tall, you feel good. Because I think posture changes the story you tell yourself before you actually speak. And New Yorkers knew it. They felt better when they talked to me.
Once again, listen to I'm Refocused Radio and watching us online, talking to our special guest, Dr. Sherry McAllister. You can get a copy of her book. I promise you we're going to get a little bit more details on, but you can get it on Amazon. It's available. And before we go into that real fast, I have one more question, and that is, when you think about people not understanding what the body is trying to tell them, what are some warning signs when people are starting to realize, you know what, something doesn't feel right, and if I ignore it any longer, I might be in some deep trouble? What's some of the body signs that you can give our audience that they should pay attention to if they feel like there's any discomfort going on?
This is a moment of reflection because your nervous system is the number one most important thing that you own. And oftentimes we are looking at ourselves literally as segmented pieces. Like, oh, I have, a kidney infection, and I have gastric ulcer. We're not one piece. We're not symptoms walking around as segments. We're actually a whole being. And I love that there's whole being health that's starting to come out, because when we start treating our bodies like honestly, we're more about treating our body like a bunch of disconnected apps. And that doesn't work. We need our nervous system, our posture, our movement, our nourishment, our mindset, all to kind of come together and recognize and reflect on it. We don't want to wait till we have pain. So, for the women that are out there, if your shoes are killing you, you're recognizing something really important. Those shoes, they need to go. But should you really have to have pain to actually do something different in your life? And that's really why I think it's so important that we start looking at our alignment in our life, because at the end of the day, the choices we make, the lifestyle changes that we make, they may be small, but they all add up like a bank account. You deposit good choices into that bank account, but you start doing things that really negate your health, and it's massive withdrawal, and it comes out fast. So I want you to know longevity matters, but don't wait until you're broken. You don't do that to your dentist. You don't come in, hey, my teeth are falling out. Why do it when it's the most important system you own, which is the nervous system? We want performance, presence, and power to be part of you for decades. So whole being care, I think, is the number one thing. And that, I think, is the key to success for so many people. Don't wait. Start looking at your body now.
And speaking of looking at your body now, let's jump right into this book that you're the author of, Adjusted Reality. Tell us a little bit of what readers can expect to take away from it, and what inspired you to get it written.
So I wrote Adjusted Reality because I think people deserve to understand their body before it starts breaking down. And we've normalized stress, pain, and fatigue and disconnection in the world. And I wanted to flip the script. This book isn't about fixing what's broken. It's actually about upgrading how we live our lives and how we treat our bodies. So when people realize their posture and movement, but most importantly, their nervous system shapes how they think, feel, and show up every single day, I think it's really empowering. And that's my passion, is helping people really reclaim their alignment, their clarity, and their confidence in everyday life. Because I think when you know better, you choose. And that's a choice to do better.
And speaking of choosing to do better, a lot of people wait until the new year in January to say, all right, new year, new me. And we all know that trend kind of goes a little bit well for people, but a lot of times they don't make that 30-day mark to keep it the actual lifestyle, because routines are important and it's really hard to go cold turkey, if you will. But if someone's watching this and listening to this right now, and they are real serious about wanting to make some small adjustment, what could they start right now, right after this show, and say, okay, if I have to take baby steps, what's one thing I can do right after this show just to make some better progress with my goals in life?
Let's just start with awakening. First, think about the things that you're doing during the day. And one of them is, if you're in transition to work, how heavy is that bag? How can I balance it? What are my shoes looking like? Can I offer myself some relief there? I think when we get to the new you in the new year, many people put way too much stress on themselves, and then they go into this catatonic state. They don't even know where to start. The Adjust Reality book is really a good start, because you get to choose where to start. Because you may be in a GPS system right now where you're lost. You actually feel like you're nowhere, so you're not going to make any change because you're so confused on what's the next change. I like to think about Adjusted Reality as the GPS coordinates that say, I'm nowhere, and take you to a choice of what you're going to do today that takes you from nowhere to now here. And that makes a huge difference. And also, as you read the journey, and it's your journey to take, You then get to reflect on who's the health care provider, a true health care provider, not a sickness care provider. Because if you're going in because you're always sick, that's a choice. But if you really want a health care provider to walk with you on the journey, then the time is now to adjust your reality.
And I like how you put that, because now here, that's where we are right now at this point in this interview. We're now here, and it's a perfect time for me to ask you, how can people stay in touch with you online? And also, if you have any special projects or resources, additional resources that our listeners and viewers can tap into, what are those that they can have a nice time and enjoy?
Absolutely. Well, first you said it, Adjusted Reality is available on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, wherever you buy your book. That's step one. Step two, you want to keep the momentum, and hearing small things to adjust your life can be done through the Adjusted Reality podcast. And so it kind of amplifies what you're going to be taking on. And then the third one, you can come to our website and learn more as a patient about what do I need to do for myself and what are some of the resources, or maybe even find a healthcare doctor that will walk the journey with you. And that is f4ce.org. And you'll be able to find what you need and hopefully apply it to today.
And last but not least, fashion is all about expression and confidence, like you've been saying throughout the show. What does it look like when it's in harmony? Because it's so easy being in competition with trying to look just as good as someone else, or trying to worry about things we should worry about. How can we just be more in harmony as we are getting better at this?
Beautiful. Love the word harmony. Harmony really is the balance of life, and it creates optimization. And so much of life is, we don't look at it as biohacking. It's really starting to, first and foremost, to find harmony is start to listen to your body. And I think if you want to predict the future for yourself, do what Abraham Lincoln said. And the best way to predict the future is to create it. And that's create what you want right now. And that will challenge you, but your longevity will be so worth it.
Appreciate that. That's a great, man, that's something that you can get in the stores on Christmas Day. So this right here is some good information that you can download and just put to work like right now. So I got some homework for my viewers and listeners. Listen to the show and share with a friend, and you pass the test, because that's all we need, and that's all we really want, is for this show to continue to reach more and more people, because we got to have Dr. Sherry McAllister on again in the future, because this type of information, man, you just got it as a Christmas gift. So if you have one message you want to send to people, especially people who love fashion, or those who are too worried about what they look like, but give them a chance to shine the new year, what will your message be for our audience?
Well, remember, if you learn from the wise, you always get smarter. And Socrates would say, contentment is natural wealth. Luxury is artificial poverty. So give your gift of health. And that, my friends, will last a lifetime.
That's good stuff. Once again, want to say to our guests, like always, want to say to you, thank you for your time today.
Oh, it's a blessing. Thank you.